Okay, picture this. It's about 1.5 million years ago. You are a Homo erectus, which, yes, is a real name scientists gave our ancestor, and yes, they knew exactly what they were doing. You're standing on the African savanna, minding your business, eating some lukewarm roots, when suddenly, lightning strikes a tree nearby. The tree explodes into flames, and you do what any rational primate would do. You run, screaming, in the opposite direction. Smart? Absolutely. Historically significant? Unfortunately, no. Because here's the thing. At some point, one of your cousins didn't run. One of your cousins stopped, squinted at the fire, cocked their head to the side like a golden retriever hearing a strange noise, and thought something close to, huh. And that single moment of dumb curiosity? That's where our story begins. Let's talk about what scientists call opportunistic fire use, which is a fancy way of saying humans didn't invent fire. Fire invented itself. We just showed up. For hundreds of thousands of years, early hominids didn't make fire. They found it, from wildfires, volcanic activity, or lightning strikes. And they treated it the way we treat a really intimidating piece of gym equipment. Fascinated from a distance, not entirely sure how to use it, but definitely not going near it first. Eventually, though, curiosity won. Archaeologists have found evidence of fire use at sites in South Africa going back nearly 1,000,000 years. Hearths, burnt bones, ash layers. The oldest known campfire. What were they doing around that fire? Probably the same thing we do today. Eating, staying warm, and absolutely refusing to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Here's what fire actually did for early humans. And this is the genuinely mind-blowing part. Cooking food with fire breaks down proteins and starches, making food way easier to digest. More digestible food meant more calories going to the brain instead of the gut. Some scientists believe cooking is literally why our brains got so big. So the next time someone tells you cooking is a basic skill, you tell them, actually, it's the reason I have a prefrontal cortex. You're welcome. Now here's where things get interesting. And by interesting, I mean stressful. For a long time, humans couldn't make fire. They could only keep it. Think about what that means. You find a wildfire, you grab a burning branch, and now that branch is your entire civilization's most important possession. You carry it. You protect it. You feed it. You probably give it a name. This is called fire tending, and it was a full-time job. Some researchers believe early groups had designated firekeepers, people whose entire role was to make sure the flame never went out. If it did, you either waited for the next lightning storm, found a neighboring group, and asked, very nicely, to borrow some of their fire, or you just sat in the dark and thought about what you'd done. Imagine the pressure. You're the firekeeper. Everyone's counting on you. It's cold. It's dark. A mammoth walked through camp last night and kicked over half your kindling, and your group is staring at you like, well, no pressure. Somewhere between 400,000 and 700,000 years ago. Scientists are still debating this. Humans figured out something extraordinary. You could create fire, not find it, not borrow it, make it, from scratch, yourself. The two main methods were friction, rubbing sticks together until you get an ember, and percussion, striking flint against iron pyrite to create sparks. Both methods sound simple. Both methods are absolutely not simple. If you've ever tried rubbing two sticks together to make fire, you know it takes way more effort than any survival show makes it look. You need the right wood, you need dry tinder, you need a specific technique, you need upper body strength, you need patience. And you need to accept that for the first 20 minutes, nothing is going to happen and your arms are going to feel like wet noodles. But when it works, when that first tiny ember appears and you cup it in your hands like it's the most precious thing in the world, which, at that moment in history, it genuinely was. That's it. That's the moment. That's the turning point. Humans are no longer passengers on this planet. They're drivers. Slightly confused, definitely overconfident drivers. But drivers nonetheless. Let's zoom out for a second and really appreciate what mastering fire did for the human species. Because it wasn't just about warmth and cooked food, though both of those things are genuinely excellent. Fire extended the day. Before fire, when the sun went down, you went to sleep because what else were you going to do? After fire, you had light. You had evenings. You had time to talk, to tell stories, to plan. Some anthropologists think the campfire is literally where human language and culture developed. Sitting around a flame at night, sharing what happened, making things up, exaggerating wildly. Sound familiar? Fire also meant safety. Predators, your lions, your hyenas, your assorted nightmare creatures. They feared fire. Having a fire at your camp meant you could sleep without one eye open, which, for a species that was previously just a snack on legs, was a massive upgrade. And fire meant tools. Heat-treated stone is stronger and easier to shape. Fire let early humans craft better spears, better blades, better everything. It was the original Industrial Revolution, except instead of factories, it was a guy in a cave going, "What if I stuck this rock in the fire for a while?" So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Fire didn't just keep us warm, it made us us. It rewired our diets, our brains, our social lives, and our relationship with the night. Every great leap in early human history has fire somewhere in the background, doing the heavy lifting. And it all started because, one day, a very brave or very foolish ancestor of ours looked at something terrifying and thought, "I wonder what happens if I touch that." Which is honestly the most human thing I've ever heard. We are, at our core, a species of curious idiots who occasionally stumble into genius. And I think that's beautiful. Anyway, don't play with fire. Unless you're a Homo erectus. Then, honestly, go for it. It works out great. Works out.